What up, you guys? Slim here in Team Purple Panda, back with probably one of my favorite deck discussions of all time. We're going to talk about the deck that taught me basically how to play this game and how to be really good in this game. A deck that I love more than I could probably ever express. It is one of the most expensive decks in creation, in history, in Yu-Gi-Oh! I did cash out for most of it, I'm not gonna lie. I had saved a lot of money, I had worked to get money, I sold a lot of shit, old shoes, old fitteds, old stuff to, make this deck because, it meant that much to me. We're going to talk about Teledad, you guys. I don't know if people remember Teledad. This is a shout out to DCrow17. We're going to do a comparison in this one because you also sent me a request to do a comparison of the two versions of Teledad that were popular during Teledad's prime. So I'm going to compare them now and take care of both of those ideas with this one video. So a big shout out to you for bringing them both up and remembering the second version of Teledad, which was Zombie Teledad. So basically, you guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I am talking about a card called Emergency Teleport that you use with Dark Arm Dragon. It was one of the greatest decks of all time. Dark Arm Dragon was in its prime. God, I can't even remember how long ago it's been, but Dark Arm, could run at 2. It was like 2 or 3, and it was ridiculous. So for those who don't know, I'm going to give you a little history lesson. You quickly summon Psychic-type monsters, which is usually Krebons. The tuners are then used with cards like Malicious. You synchro summon monsters while putting this. Well, at the same time, you put Dark monsters in your graveyard to summon Dark Arm. Dark Arm is then used to clear your opponent's field, and you attack for game. If done correctly, this can occur as fast as 1 turn to 3 turns. Before the March 2009 ban list, this was the top deck of the Shonen Jump circuit when it was not uncommon that almost all of the top 8 of many tournament were using these decks. After March, the deck itself technically dead with Dark Arm, Emergency Teleport, and Reinforcement limited. It was succeeded to a slower version of itself, which never gained an edge like their predecessor, although they still fared well in high-level tournaments. However, September 10th's limiting of Solemn Judgment took away this deck's primarily defensive card. If you guys remember, this was the time you could run 3 Solemn Judgment, which meant your life points didn't matter anymore. You just kept negating shit because they wouldn't go to 0. They just keep halving. And although many players now use its counterpart Solemn Warning, even though this card is now semi-limited, the deck was unfortunately dead. So that was Teleport Dark Arm. Also, there was a deck called Zombie Teledad, which is the variant of the deck that it combined the field swarming abilities of zombie-type monsters with Dark Arm Dragon. And with the release of the March 2009 list, it was weakened since many of the key cards were limited. Zombies used to swarm the field. You would use Zombie Master, Goblin Zoblin, Illblood, Mizuki, Pyramid Turtle. The majority of them were dark, and a number of them were sent to the graveyard for their effects, and that would hence help you summon Dark Arm Dragon. Krebons and Plague Spreader were used to perform synchro summons, and the deck was amazing. I can't even begin to explain it to you guys. Like, I had so much fun, won hundreds of games with it. My only losses during that time were to, mirror matches to whoever just played it better. I went through hell and back to get Dark Arms because, Dark Arms were so expensive. And, I ended up selling them back to vendors when I knew Dark Arm was going to get hit. And, I did make a bit of my money back. I sold Dark Arms for like 200, 175 to 200. Some vendor bought it, I remember one time for 190, and I jumped on that because vendors usually never spend that much. So it was interesting to see them actually jump on a card like that. So they must have known because then they probably turned around and sold it for like 220 and someone bought it. So, I'm sure they made a profit off me, but, whatever. The deck was amazing, you guys. Like, you had so many ways of winning. Like, not only your E-teleport plays, but, if you drew, like, multiple teleports, you could synchro, Dark Arm, attack for game. You couldn't do shit. And the deck was amazing because a lot of people, feared the deck. They knew that if they were playing Teledad, they probably lost because it was so hard to beat that deck. It had so many plays and it side decked really well, and it just like wrecked the opponent. And then in comparison with the zombie version, I liked the zombie version because you had so many more plays with Goblin Zombie, Mizuki, Illblood, Pyramid Turtle. Pyramid Turtle being the one that lets you special summon basically almost any zombie because their defense is low. It was so good. And like people are asking, which one did I prefer? I never ran the zombie version. I ran the original Teledad, so for me, I'd probably say the original Teledad was a little bit better because you could do a lot of plays with it. You ran like the Malicious Destiny Hero engine. You could run Armageddon Knight. You could run Dark Grepher. That's when those cards had just come out and they made the deck so good. Like you would run like 2 or 3 Armageddon like it was nothing because it was like summon, pitch a dark, 3 darks, Dark Arm. So good. And now Dark Arm's been reprinted like twice, the Secret Dark Arm will always be the superior of all of them. It was gorgeous. It was a really, really cool card, and, um, if we ever came back to a Teledad format, I would jump on it and totally just rebuild the deck, like out of nowhere. I just literally just like cash out and rebuild the deck. And like this was, like I said, this was a time you could run 3 Solemn Judgment, ridiculously broken. You can't do that anymore, but you could run 2 Solemn Warning, 1 Judgment. Try to make it work from there. Use 7 tools instead. You had a lot of ways of getting around stuff. So I mean, the deck was amazing back in its prime. Like I said, the deck is dead. Don't even try to run it. It's not playable at all. A lot of the key cards were limited. The speed is not there anymore. It ran a Destiny Hero engine that no longer exists. It did so many great plays. The zombies were limited. They hit a lot of them. So, the deck itself is dead, unfortunately. But it's nice to make videos like this and reminisce on a time, when the deck was number one. And I mean, some people did like that format. So I know a lot of people didn't because they said, oh, if you didn't have the deck, you didn't win. I mean, mostly that was true, but it took a lot more skill to win, to play against that deck. And even in a mirror match, whoever played it better would win the match. It wasn't like a Saki match. It's whoever just played it better because you knew it was coming. You could foresee it coming. Like you knew that, oh, he's going to summon Armageddon, he's going to send Malicious, or he's going to send something so that he can set up his plays. And that's exactly what would happen. And you would have to know if, as a player, you could play out of those situations. So, I mean, I really like the format. It shaped me as a player because I was starting to come up on my game, getting a lot better, and, investing the money to make the deck was really, like, a really smart decision. I mean, I look on it now, and, it may not have looked like a smart decision, but it taught me so much about this game, and, it's part of the reason why I have so much knowledge of this game. Like, I don't know if anyone's addressed it, but I know a lot about this game. Like, I know a lot more than people would think. People tell me, oh, dude, you don't look like a guy who knows. I don't look like a guy who knows anything, but, to the contrary, and I know all my subs can tell you, I know a lot about this game, and I'm always learning more. I learned probably something new every day in this game. And, that's like a big thing for me is I want people to know that, I'm with you and that I understand, like what you're talking about and that I will address anything because I feel anything should be addressed in this game because you don't want people feeling left out. You don't want them to think their ideas are not worth it. And, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with how this channel's been going. And, on the subject of Teledad, once again, for Decro17, you asked me which one I prefer is more my playstyle. Definitely the original Teledad, because that's the deck I used to play, and I would give anything in the world to play it again. I might actually rebuild it just for fun and just see if I could actually still play it the way I used to. But I might make it on Dueling Network and try to go to traditional and try to play someone with it. But it was an amazing deck, and I love doing this video. I love reminiscing on the past where like you could abuse Malicious, Dark Arm for days, and it's just a great format. So thank you. Decro17 once again for this awesome idea. I hope this answers your question about Teledad. I'll forever miss that deck. I don't think I'll ever miss another deck like that. The only other deck I loved as much as I loved that was Demise, and those two decks are dead, and I'm really gonna miss them, but this was definitely fun to do. Thank you so much for letting me talk about a deck that I used to love so much. Please drop me comments, you guys. I want to hear your stories with Teledad, if they're good or bad. I want to reminisce on this deck because it was one of my favorite decks of all time. So please, leave me your comments. What do you think about the deck? Do you think it has a chance coming back? Are there new ways to do it? Whatever you guys want to say. So please, do that. Please continue to rate, comment, subscribe, inbox me your ideas, and thank you for watching.